Hey all, Tom here. Welcome back to another video on the Racing Joker channel. You may or may not have noticed we're not in 4K today, we're in 60 FPS, and that is because I'm using OBS. The reason why is because we're going to be talking about the BMW M3 GTR, specifically the wrap of the M3 GTR project car, otherwise known as the Black Pearl. So I thought it'd be fun to use the mic with the fuzz all over it. Let's get right into it. The wrap. Let me open up my email here because I have been working with Protective Film Solutions, the almighty kings of bespoke YouTuber car liveries. I'm sure you know where I'm going with this. I'm working with them to put together the livery. And I just thought it would be cool to kind of talk about where the design came from and what materials I'll be using. So I think my last email was from Jason over at PFS, but I've also been talking to Kyle and Brian. And here we go. Let's wind the clocks back. All right, well, the backstory on the livery of my Black Pearl M3 GTR, it actually goes back a fair bit. 2013, 2014, when I was in middle school / high school, early teenage years. That's when and where I designed the livery within Need for Speed World, the MMO version of Need for Speed Carbon and Need for Speed Most Wanted. I created the livery on the street version of the M3 GTR E46 with the black, the purple, and the kind of the stripes, and the livery that pulled from multiple different cars. So the design has been around for a long time, but let's talk about where the design kind of pulls its inspiration, all right? So you might look at it at the side and go, well, that doesn't really pull inspiration from anywhere. You would be correct, it doesn't. That's just kind of my way of connecting the front and the back in a way that kind of complements the lines of the car, follows the fender arches, and just kind of looks clean and neat. And simple and tidy, and gives you kind of a nice canvas for adding sponsorship decals should you want to, or just keeping it, Sony wanted to advertise to you for some reason, or just keeping it clean should you want to, because, you know, that's also the style of Need for Speed, where the cars they've got intricate liveries, but they don't necessarily have decals of sponsors and manufacturers all over them, you know. All of the Blacklist cars and Need for Speed Most Wanted and Need for Speed Carbon, all the boss cars, didn't really have a ton of manufacturer decals on there, which is kind of cool designs with no company logos on them. So kind of leaves, God, this is a creaky chair. So it leaves space for either way. It turns out, ultimately, in reality, I'm going to be putting some sponsor logos and partner company logos on the car, you know, to show appreciation for their immense support in the project. I think that's only fair. But yeah, so the sides are, I guess you could say, original. But let's look at the front now. So the front, you've got the lucky number 9 in Roman numerals. That's my lucky number. That's I've said this before. Black hood, or I might just leave it clear coat carbon fiber when I eventually just get a carbon fiber hood. And then you got the white stripes on the sides, and that just pays homage to the original American Le Mans race cars, the original M3 GTRs. Like a good example would be the white and blue cars, where they have the blue on the sides of the hood, or the PTG cars, where the whole cars were black, and then when you look at the hood, you have that same kind of stripe design in red on the hood as well. So I figured black hood with that white would be pretty cool. Now, it's not actually going to be white. So here's the color scheme that I'm going to be going for, just to make it clear. It's going to be purple base, gloss or metallic black for all the stripes, and then the edges or outlines of all those black sections and stripes is going to be a kind of white aluminum finish. It's not going to be full white. But anyways, that is the front. That is pulled from the actual race cars of, you know, yesteryear. But then when we move to the back, as long as you have more than a couple dozen brain cells, you should be able to tell that the design is pulled from the Need for Speed Most Wanted M3 GTR. Should be pretty obvious. Basically, it's just the same rear end kind of look where it comes up over the quarter panels of the car and kind of makes that cool U shape around the trunk and everything like that. But instead of it being blue and silver, it's black, silver, and purple. you know, I grew up loving the look of the M3 GTR. The viewpoint, the follow camera of the gameplay was ingrained in my mind, and I always thought, you know, if I'm going to design a livery, I have to incorporate that, because that to me is the most iconic part, because it's the one you always saw the most playing Need for Speed. So I thought, you gotta use that. So it makes perfect sense to me. And then of course the black roof. I'm keeping the sunroof, which I thought would be really cool on an M3 GTR. And yeah, so that's the most simple breakdown of the livery, but then there's a couple other things I want to add. So yes, I would like to add sponsors and partners and things like that. You know, 2M Autoworks is going to get a substantial space on the car for being such an awesome partner and creating such a cool body kit. There's a whole bunch of other people that are going to be getting mentions as well. But then there's a couple other details I want to add. So for those of you that don't know, the M3 GTR street car actually had a GTR logo on it, or badge, you could say. It wasn't like the M3 CSLs where there was a special badge on the trunk. It just said M3 on the trunk. Nothing interesting. Didn't say GTR. But on the street cars, the street versions, if you open the doors and you look at the door sills where it would say M3 or M3 CSL, they had bespoke door sills that said M3 GTR. Now that GTR logo, that font, well, I want to use that in the livery. So what I've decided to do, I'm going to take the letters GTR in that exact font, lifted from a real M3 GTR street car, and I'm going to put it on the end plates for the wing on my car. So when you look at the car, the end plates are going to be black, and then the official M3 GTR font, the letters GTR, is going to be on there to designate it. I'm not going to come up with like an actual badge design to put next to the M3 logo or anything. I'm just going to put in the door sills and also those end plates. I think that would look super, super cool. And then of course, another detail I'm going to add is that because this car is car number 22, because I got it when I was 22, I'm going to add window decals with that number 22 on the sides as well, on the passenger windows, the ones that kind of come out like fins or drag fins on like a Star Wars ship, basically. But yeah, so that is the kind of rundown on the livery design. There's a couple other details in there that I'd like to include, but it's not set in stone yet. I'm still trying to figure out the wheel situation. I'm trying to save money where I can, for obvious reasons. You guys kind of know my situation better now. But trying to figure out the wheel situation. Tires were good. XComp has given me such an awesome offer that they guaranteed themselves as just lifelong partners for all of my future projects. Every car I ever build from here on out, XComp is my first choice because they really hooked me up, and I know their tires are really good already. They didn't have to give me the deal they had to give me. But because of that, I'm always going to work with them. So, again, Protective Film Solutions over in Santa Ana, California. That's where the car is going, because all the other work's going to be getting done in California too. Jason sent me an email with all of the materials that are getting used. And I thought it would be really cool to go through all the materials that they're going to be using, all three of them, and actually look at pictures of them on the internet, which is why I'm using OBS. By the way, check out the subscriber count. Really awesome. Thanks for joining the crew. We're going to be looking up all the materials, and I'm going to be talking about how they're going to be used in the livery in real life. It feels so cool to finally be doing this, man. This has been a long time coming. I'm going to make a video all about the story of this dream and how it was just an idea I had when I was a kid, an infatuation that started from playing a video game to now. I'm going to do that whole story. I'm going to tell the whole thing, because by the time I'm done, this is going to be life-changing. So, let's start with the purple. So we are going to be using, for the purple, so we are going to be using 3M Gloss Plum Explosion for the purple. And Jason had zero objections for my choice in color. I've been aware of this color for a while. The finish is super, super cool. It's a beautiful color. I've seen it in person before. It will pop. It will look great with the black and the kind of silver. It's just, I think it's the perfect choice. Here's kind of a picture of it kind of in the sun. it looks pretty good. It's kind of got a couple different shades in there, but for the most part, it's just a nice bright purple. Kind of reminds me of the Mopar purple. I'm trying to remember what it's called. Is it called Crazy Purple? Mopar purple name. Plum Crazy Purple. So I think this is a good base purple with the livery in mind. Now, if we look up, let's start with 3M Gloss Black. It's a little hard to kind of find a good picture of it because this is only going to be sections of the car. It's like a nice shiny black. That's the gloss black. I think that looks pretty good. I think, yeah, kind of hard to go wrong with that. It's a black. I didn't know what other... I basically told Jason, I'll let you kind of tell me what would be a good choice for that because, well, black is black. I don't know. But then we've also got 3M Gloss Metallic Black, which I think kind of has like a flake look to it. Kind of like this. I think I would rather go for the gloss black, I think. I don't think I really want this kind of finish. I'd rather it be kind of more smooth and simple and not pull you, it not be too harsh of a contrast to everything else, because the purple is going to be very vibrant and bright, but it doesn't have that weird flake look to it. So then having this next to it, I just don't think would look right. So I think this is the way to go with the gloss black. And then the one I'm super curious about is the one he told me about, the satin white aluminum, another 3M color. I'm already liking what I'm seeing here. Let me look at this picture. That looks perfect. Because I wanted something, initially I said, could we do something in a kind of chrome? I asked, you know, because I've heard stories about chrome being difficult to work with, right? It just not being a very malleable material or something like that. Like it breaks or you end up wasting a lot or whatever, and it's just very expensive. And he said, yeah, all that's true. Since based on what you're trying to go for with the silver, I don't think it'd be really worth the cost and the effort. It would cost you a lot more money to achieve that when you can achieve the same thing with the aluminum finish. I really like it. And it's satin, which is neat. So we're going to have two glossy colors, and then, like, oh, that's a fuzzy picture. Hold on. Image, new tab? Yeah. I think that's perfect. I think Jason is right on the money with that. That satin aluminum is perfect with the gloss black and the plum explosion. That's pretty sweet. This is a nice E92 as well. And then just for preservation of the wrap itself, they're going to do the Expel Fusion Plus ceramic coating, which is really cool. I've always wanted a ceramic coated car, like a car where you can like pour the water. I think it's hydrophobic, where you can pour water on it and the water just kind of beads and runs off. That'd be super cool. Like Rain-X all over your car. But either way, that's the wrap update on the M3 GTR. Those are the colors, the materials, IRL. It's happening. That's just more steps. It's a pretty reasonable price. They gave me a quote a while back, like 3 years ago, man. And it's pretty much the same number. Pretty cool. I reached out to them a long time ago. So the M3 GTR, the Black Pearl, is coming to life. And, well, let's just say I'm pretty sure I get to do this now. But the M3 is going to be appearing as a display car for a very big Need for Speed anniversary event. More on that in a future video. But for now, if you like what you've seen on this channel and you're not subscribed yet, be sure to fix that because you'll like what I've got planned. I'm Tom the Racing Joker, and I will see you next time.